So anyway, we got some net neutrality going on. This is a big story. A lot of the younger techie people, whatever, they're very concerned with this. It's hard to understand. I guess net neutrality.
Yeah, it's not easy. It's not a black and white.
And this battle is going to be a long fought battle. The lawyers, as we were just talking, are just now becoming involved. Well, they're not just now becoming involved. This new deal where the FCC's deregulating these net neutrality regulations. It's all new. It's an all new ball game. That's what I'm saying. In the battle zone, there'll be all kinds of challenges and whatever. So, net neutrality is the principle that interest providers must treat all data on the internet the same and not discriminate or charge differently by user, content, website, platform, application, type of attached equipment, or method of communication. For instance, under these principles, internet service providers are unable to individually block, slow down, or charge money for specific websites and online content. So, some of these...
Wait, what?
Well,
just kidding. I'm just kidding.
That was... I've been trying to study on this, and I'm just a primitive... I'm a frozen caveman lawyer over here. I don't know. But I called Marsha Blackburn's office the other day and had a very nice civil conversation with a man I called the Franklin office. And see, my concern is when there's a few big giant companies that want this, and most of the other companies don't, then I throw up flags. Mm-hmm. I think you throw up flags when you think, we're deregulating, and I think usually we can agree that deregulation is usually what we're in favor of, more deregulation than regulation. But I think maybe in this case it's more of a monopoly kind of thing, prevention. Anyway, so I called Marsha Blackburn's office, talked to this guy, and I said, I've met her a few times, she's a very nice lady. And I said, but this is a loser for her. I said, there are young conservative techie guys I'm talking to that I work with all the time, and, you're going to lose. I know she's running she's going to try to get Bob Corker's seat for Senate, for the U.S. Senate to represent Tennessee, and the Democrats are going to try to throw old Phil Bredesen, our old governor, in there probably. But this is a loser for Marsha, and in my opinion, it's a loser for
they do? Resurrect Phil from the grave there?
Yeah, he's getting on, I think he's like 78 or something. And, it's a whole nother bot. When he was still running, there wasn't the Facebook stuff and as much internet stuff going on. And he's got a lot of baggage with all the money he blew. Tennessee's money he just blew for his buddies in the nursing home stuff and all that. And I think they've recouped $5 million of chicken scratch compared to the amount that they're still... Whatever. I don't even know about that scandal that well to be lying about it over here, but as I used to say.
Don't get me to lying about it.
Yeah, but so anyway, I was talking to this guy, Marsha Blackburn's office, a nice fellow, and
you said, "Listen here, son, bitch."
I just kept repeating to him that I said this is a loser for her, and he said, "Oh, there's a lot of misinformation out there. People are saying, people are calling us and saying that
we're gonna get calling us.
We're gonna get charged just for getting on the internet." And I said, "I know, but I think I know that's a little out there, but I think that's the doors that open lead into that direction." And he said, "No, there's a lot of misinformation." He goes, "Will you tell me what's different than before Obama was president? These were the same regulations that they're non-regulations that they used to have, and what happened?" I said, "Well, nothing, but." I think technology's changed and they can probably do a whole lot more with it now. But anyway, we went on, and I just said I think it's a loser for her. And I said I brought up the few big companies and all these small companies like smaller companies, which Netflix is not a small company, but I said Netflix, and I was naming off these companies that are on there. And he said, "I don't know why Netflix would be against it. They'd be able to charge more." And I said, "Yes, sir. I don't want to pay more."
Yeah.
And I think it's kind of a way to keep things a little fair. And I'm usually not for any kind of government, much government intervention, but some regulations are needed when you have. It's not a free market when you have a few giant companies, 3 or 4 big companies running the whole ball game. It's not a fair playing field. Say somebody doesn't like Mystery Ranch International, and they decide to slow us down or charge more. And these things haven't been abused yet, but they can be. So, or they probably have been.
I mean, Mike, I'll go over here and bang my head on the wall, but I ain't going to. The other side of the argument is where I was coming from, what me and Michael were discussing earlier, is that you show me something the government has regulated good, and I'll start saying, all right, regulate some more something. Another argument is...
you gotta have some regulation. They gotta regulate not to pour nuclear waste
I know,
into the river.
exactly.
Not to dump mercury into the river. You gotta have... Nobody wants over-regulation, but I think...
Yeah.
I don't know.
You were talking about Netflix. Right now, the other argument, and I have no idea on all this stuff. I mean, I'm just throwing it up to hopefully letting the Lord take care of it. But on the other, you're talking about Netflix. Right now they have one super information highway, and people have put it toward you have toll booths on the highway, or you have a semi truck and you have a little micro car. The semi truck with the heavy load is going to cause more damage to the highway than the micro car. So they would be charging those. Now, naturally, all those if Netflix is the heavy truck with all that information, an email...
They're going to pass it on to the consumer.
Exactly. And naturally, it would be passed on to the consumer. Right now, I don't know how all this is working. I know if you send an email, it can get there in segments and bits, and it doesn't matter which order of those segments and bits actually get to whoever you're sending it to. Something streaming, it has to get there in order, So all this makes a big difference, and I don't understand it. And like we said earlier, don't get me lying about it.
Yeah.
Because I don't know.
But it's a big deal, and all you techie folks know all about it. But
but Michael's made some good arguments to me, and
I hope I explained myself for this video. I don't know that I did well enough, but
I lean more toward where Michael's coming from now than I did earlier today.
Because when you think but you think of the FCC's kind of
him and his communist scare tactics done got me,
And usually I'm not a big.
Usually he's not a tree hugging hippie, but I mean, tonight we're just gonna.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, I kind of made some good. I hope I made some points on the video. We were discussing it earlier, and I don't know if I did, but
I have been more where you're coming from, and I mean, I don't know.
I think it's more of a bust the trust kind of thing, where you know what I mean. Keep it. I don't know. I don't like Google, and I don't want them. I feel like even though it's a deregulation, I feel like they would be more in control of what a few big companies, Comcast, Google, whoever, would be more in control of which information gets to you in front.
Yeah. Which
I guess they already do. I don't know.
Facebook is already doing that. Well, but I mean, would it be worse or less?
But who's to say? Is it the service providers that they own? Would it be...
Was that fancy word they said, the ISPs? Or?
Yeah, internet service providers.
Yeah. The ISPs.
I guess their competition, they could slow down, speed up. I don't know. It's tough.
I don't know either. I really don't.
Look it up, but it seems to be a big deal. So.
It is a big deal. I mean, that's the way everybody's making it sound. So.
What else are we going to talk about?
Dadgum Jerusalem.
Yep.
Nikki Haley.
Yes, sir. December 6th.
They have done stirred it up, ain't they?
Yep. December 6th. What year is this? 2017. December 6, 2017. They,
You know, I was in that Montauk chair up and doing that time warp thing, and I just
lose track of time.
Yeah.
But Trump declared that America would recognize Jerusalem as the capital of Israel, which Congress had voted to kind of do this 22 years ago or so, 22, 24, 20 something. I think it was 22 years ago. But of course they left an out in the bill for the presidents because it's such a
to delay it or
kind of
something
political
like that, right?
no-no. They didn't really have to go declare it, but of course Trump does things differently, and he did. And you know, then the UN.
You have to give it to Trump. He does not care what the establishment quota for how to do things is.
And
I give it to him for that.
And you
Seriously.
people that just seem to hate him so badly, you need to look that these people, these other people that you seem to hate so badly, hate him. So, you know, you should think about that. A friend of my enemy, or, you know, an enemy of my enemy is my friend. Sometimes, you know. There's a reason Republicans are spending money in campaigns going against people that Trump wants, you know. It's
Daggum, you had George Bush come out of retirement. George Bush
hating on Donald Trump.
George Bush said nothing for 8 years of Obama. Not one damn thing. George Bush didn't say one damn thing of anything that Obama did. What, the first 6 months you have George Bush coming out on Trump?
Yep.
Come on.
And you people...
That pissed me off.
You people seem to just... Okay. Yeah. That, I think we made a little point there, Hope. I guess there's enough hate for y'all to hate all of them.
Man.
But, so, obviously that's a big deal in the Middle East with the Palestinians and all. And then, of course, the United Nations, they voted to reject the U.S. decision on Jerusalem, even though, let's see, the United Nations General Assembly voted Thursday, 128-9 with 35 absentees on a non-binding resolution.
28-9. I love it.
A non-binding resolution condemning President Trump's new policy recognizing Jerusalem as the capital of Israel. Mr. Trump had said he would be watching very closely at which members of the General Assembly voted for the resolution and which voted
I
against.
wonder which way Britain went.
They went with us.
Okay.
They did, yeah.
Okay.
I thought I had a list of who did and who didn't. I don't know.
Man, that'd be, yeah. I was
looked at it.
thinking about that
They
earlier.
definitely did. France did. They did.
France did?
Canada, Mexico.
Okay,
People that like Canada and Mexico are worried about NATO or whatever. Yeah, it's
all the important guys at least.
right. And I'm sure
Zimbabwe,
some
probably.
of the 35 absentees are with us too. Pretty much all of them. They just candies.
Oh, Claude have mercy.
And you know, I think that they're finally just coming to the point. You know, in the rest of the world, obviously they're going to continue to try to come up. Most of these people want a two-state solution or whatever. That's fine, but you're waiting to come to the table. Come to the table. Israel is the only group that will allow Christians, Muslims, and Jews to live in harmony together.
Mm-hmm.
And when you can get that, when you can make that happen, I bet they'll be happy to come off of a whole lot more.
You go to Jerusalem,
You
talk to the Muslims
you want to act
there?
like a primitive throwback. Act like a primitive throwback.
Yeah, and that's the Palestinians in this case. They're the ones acting like the primitive throwback. I mean, you go to Jerusalem, you talk to the Muslims there. They're very happy with the situation. They have no problem.
They decide to share it
Exactly.
and treat it as their capital too.
Not all Muslims are terrorists. Most terrorists are Muslim, but that has no. I mean, there's a lot of innocence.
There's also more Muslims than any other religion in the whole world.
Exactly. So
I mean,
you know,
you got bad and everything.
That throws a lot of innocent Muslims into this group, you know, and
there are a lot of Muslims living in Israel.
Yeah,
so.
and they have no problem with Jewish people. They have no problem with Christians. Jerusalem is a cosmopolitan city. It really is. It takes, you know, it takes everybody in. It really does. But well, I don't know why that's so scary and so bad, but by God it is.
Well, as Guns N' Roses said, everybody's fighting for the promised land. But
So Nikki Haley said she's taking names.
Yeah, of course Trump had already said it. You know, and despite their threats of the U.S. cutting funding, the resolution passed and applauded. You know, U.S. Ambassador to the United Nations, Miss Nikki Haley, told an emergency meeting of the U.S. Assembly on Thursday, the United States will remember this day in which it was singled out for attack in the General Assembly for the very right of exercising our right as a sovereign nation. We will remember it when we are called upon once again to make the world's largest contribution to the United Nations, she said, and we will remember when so many countries come calling on us, as they often do, to pay even more and to use our influence for their benefit, she added. So I kind of like to see a bunch with enough guts to say, we're not just going to throw a bunch of money at you and you turn your back, laugh at us and use it to our demise. Screw you.
Like in the past.
Like every other country with any sense would do. You can say we can be a city on a hill and still cover our rear ends, folks. Come on. Voting with the U.S. were 7 countries: Guatemala, Honduras, Marshall Islands, Minnesota, Nauru, Palau, Togo. Several allies abstained, including Canada and Mexico. I guess a bunch of those were in the abstain. Maybe I was wrong. But
Guatemala.
I guess the ones that people that we trade heavily that make a bunch of stuff for us, probably.
Is Honduras not in there, man?
Honduras, yeah.
Okay.
It is.
My
It sure
Honduran
is.
brethren, I was about to be just very disappointed.
It is. It is there. So anyway, that's going on. Obviously, that's a huge, huge deal that there's going to be some...
I got in a pseudo argument with a trainer I encountered last weekend. And this dude was awesome. His name was Tom. And he was going on and on about Trump and talking about, oh man, I don't know what Trump's doing with Jerusalem. I don't know what he's doing. On and on. And I really didn't, this was my peer in this situation, so I was like, I didn't even get into it. But in my head, I'm thinking, why does every other country, civilized country, any country in the world, allowed to pick what city their capital is in, hence where we will put our U.S. embassy in, but Israel? That argument alone I just don't understand it. Why can't Israel choose what they choose as their capital? And
because there's so many, they have so many enemies that don't think they should be there.
I know, exactly. I know what that.
I know you do. I'm just saying.
Yeah, theoretical. If I'm an alien that comes out of space and lands on this thing, and I'm like,
I know.
Okay, why is this one country right here not allowed to put the U.S. embassy in their capital?
Yeah.
But, it's just I wouldn't understand.
And it's a tough situation. We're blessed. That's why we're blessed to live in the United States of America. And
Yeah.
not have to worry to be over there. But it's a big deal.
It's very interesting. Yeah.
What else we got going on? We said that, of course, the tax bill was signed. I think people are going to have a little more money in their pocket. Maybe not that much. It's going to cut the corporate tax, which we will see businesses come back to the United States, I think, and we will see some business maybe never been here with the corporate deal. We should be low. We do actually we did have a higher corporate tax rate than most countries, most industrial countries before this. So it'll help the little guy too, despite what the haters say.
Yeah.
Everybody will have a little bit more money in their pocket. Say you make $50,000 a year, I think you'll have an average of what are they saying, about $1,400-1,600 more bucks in your pocket. Maybe that's more like $30,000 a year, I guess. Which is I don't know. People scoff at it, but my only problem with it is they didn't cut spending. Which, if you look at it over the time period, it's not really that big of a deal over 10 to 15 years. But they should, they should always cut spending. It doesn't matter if whenever they give tax cuts and put more money back into the private sector, they can get more revenue. They always end up with more revenue.
Yeah. JFK would be the best conservative Republican you saw today with his tax plans and tax cuts that he did.
See, he and Ronald, they're one beef I got with the Republicans. They're running saying Ronald Reagan and John Kennedy did it. It was great. And Ronald Reagan and John Kennedy's plan were similar. This plan isn't necessarily like those plans. So that's false. The Republicans are not as sorry as the Democrats.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Where's our money rain at, man? In other news this week, you can go to the Philippines for $500 and fake your own death.
Yeah, true story.
At the very end of it, by bribing all the witnesses and the death certificate coroners, it will cost a total of $15,000 or $200,000 yen or $10,500 pounds.
How many years?
I was guesstimating, like I was going to say like 250,000 yen.
I don't have my yen calculator app anymore, so I'm not sure.
MRI is international.
Yeah, I don't care about yen.
We do.
We spend American greenback dollars, and gold, and silver, platinum,
Yep.
and trade goods and services. Anyway, folks. Hope we made a little bit of sense tonight. Merry Christmas on this wonderful Mystery Ranch Christmas edition. Please comment, rate, subscribe, turn on your notifications so you don't miss our next money. Next money. So you don't it's late, folks. It's been a long week. So you don't miss our next video. What I was getting at is follow the money.
Or the power.
Thanks. Good night.